Hi, happy Monday. It's Marissa, M Kissa Creations for another Flosstube video. Welcome back if you're a returning visitor. Thank you for joining me again. And hello and welcome if you're a new visitor. I hope that you like what you see and hit that subscribe button so you can see some more. We are in the middle of Stitch Mania. It is Monday, May 10th. And I've been doing sort of a Lindy Stitch Sania, like I described in my last video. I am spending Monday through Friday working on Long Dog Samplers Bienvenue, which is a birth sampler for my daughter who will be 3 this month. And I'm spending weekends working on Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery. I found this week that my plan really worked out well. I feel like I got a lot done, and I'm excited to continue on with it next week. I really feel like I've been fostering my stitchy bug, and given the time that I get for stitching every day, I feel like I've gotten quite a bit done. So I have 2 little ones, and I'm working full-time jobs, so I typically get 2 to 3 hours of stitchy time every day, barring that we don't have plans after dinner and bedtimes and things like that, or that we don't have like a movie or a TV show that we want to watch together. I don't typically stitch when we watch like a movie together that we haven't seen before. If we're watching something that we've seen before, then I'll get my stitching out and leave the light on, but you know, true cinematic experience, we don't, I don't always want to have the light on and not be paying full attention, because cross stitch isn't really one of those like half paying attention kind of hobbies. Excuse me. Like, I can crochet with the TV on and in the dark even, and not really have to worry too much about it because I don't even have to look really, depending on the pattern. But let's get down to what you're really here for. So my main focus piece for Stitch Sania or Stitch Mania is Long Dog Samplers Bienvenue. It is this pattern right here. It's a birth sampler. It's for my daughter. Like I said, she's going to be 3 this month. I was hoping that I could maybe magically get it done by her birthday, but that's not going to happen. I still have the teeniest bit of hope that I can finish it before the end of the month, but even if I don't finish it, I think with the amount of time that I'm putting in, I will get really close. Actually, so I've been keeping track of my stitching by time because I've given myself a loophole on my Stitch Sania plans, and that is if I get 2 hours in on whatever piece I'm supposed to be focusing on based on what day of the week it is, if I get 2 hours in on it, I can switch to another project that I might want to put a couple stitches into or things like that. So I've been using, it's called A Tracker. It's on iOS. I don't know if there's an Android version of it, but when you open it up, let's see. Let me see if I turn my brightness down. When you open it up, too dark. Hang tight. Let me try again. Okay, so I'm sorry if you can hear my kids. They're upstairs with their dad. So let's see. Okay, look at the phone. Okay, so like I have a couple of my projects in here, and you literally just like tap it and it starts it, and then you tap it and it stops it. So I've had a couple times where I've forgotten to turn it off, but you can go back in and change your times, and then you can like look at it like a graph of like the last 7 days. What projects have I worked on? What have I done? What percentage of time? What amount of time? So I'm really liking that way of keeping track. I did School of Magical Stitches and Literature, which was a Facebook group last year, and it was a lot of stitch counting, and I like it, but I don't at the same time. And I also do 24 hours of cross stitch, and that's another Facebook group, hashtag 24 hours of cross stitch, and she has a time option, and so I really like that time option. So now I have the amount of time that I've worked on everything. So this last week I got 9 hours and 10 minutes into this project, And what that translates to is, so I had this motif, this whole motif completed before I started. But I did like this little flower, this box, the vase and the flowers, this portion of the box, which will have my daughter's name in it, and then all of these little motifs, and I'm working on the motif on the top right here. So I've gotten quite a bit done in those 9 hours, I feel like. I feel like I did make some decent progress, and it feels good. This is where it's at right now. So, doing pretty well. Like I said, I might be able to do it by the end of the month. I definitely am not going to finish it by her birthday, which is next week. So, I am using Classic Colorworks colors for that. It's charted as a monochromatic piece, but I am kind of just making stuff up as I go. I am missing one of my colors that I was going to show you. So, oh, I'm sorry. I am stitching it in Classic Colorworks and then one Weeks Dye Works. So, Weeks Dye Works Galvanized, Classic Colorworks Clay Pot, Root Beer Float, Deep Fennel, and Frosted Sage. And these are actually a lot of similar colors to Bent Creek's Baby Row, which is what I did for my other daughter's birth sampler, and kind of why I carried these over into this. So that is my little color palette. I'm having major dye lot issues on the clay pot because I have 3 skeins, but one of them is even marked as Crescent Colorworks, which is what Classic Colorworks was before. And so, I don't know if you'll really be able to tell how different they are on camera, but they're really different in real life. And I'm just not gonna play that whole like dye lot lottery of ordering it from a shop right now and seeing if it matches or not. I can kind of tell parts where I've used different ones, but like, so it's sort of been like the focus, or at least the outer edges of the motifs that I've done already. And this one that I'm doing up here, so the Frosted Sage will be the most prominent in that motif, and hopefully I don't end up ripping it out. But I mean, it's gonna be on her wall for maybe like, what, 5 more years at the most, and then it's gonna go in a box, and then it's gonna go with her to her house when she moves out, and her daughters can look at it and say, Grandma used 3 different colors on this and it was supposed to be the same. They're not gonna do that. So I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm really excited to have made the progress on it that I have made already, and I'm gonna keep moving forward. My other progress is, my big progress is on Heartstring Samplery's Consider the Lilies, designed by Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. I am so in love with this pattern. I can't stop stitching it. It's why I'm not having a monogamous mania, sania, and doing just Bienvenue. I like cannot put this down. I started it on March 24th, and I am loving every second of it. Even the hellacious rip out that happened before last week's video. So this pattern's awesome. I was talking to my stitching group and I was like, it's gonna be like, I'm trying not to even have any knots on the back, it's gonna be, you know, an heirloom. And they were like, well, you have 2 daughters, you're gonna have to stitch another one. I was like, oh, I'll stitch Sparrow in like 15 years when I am happy about it again. Okay, but last time I talked to you, I told you that I had all the colors finally so that I could finish the tree, Adam and Eve's tree. and I realized, I posted a picture on Instagram. I was like, I'm done with the tree. But I realized then that I forgot a little branch and an apple that's up here. So I'll have to go back to that at some point, but I'll take care of it when I stitch like the motif up here that has the initials and the date in it. I was debating on whether to start that already and if I was going to put 2020 in it, or if I needed to wait a little longer before I decided if I was going to finish it this year. I don't have any plans to put this down anytime soon, but you know, the best laid plans. What does Jessie Marie say? Her plans are written in sand. I feel like that's pretty accurate for most of us, unless you are a monogamous stitcher. You end up changing it anytime. But okay, so I got, let's see, did I tell you that I put 9 hours and 10 minutes into the long dog? So that was almost my 2 hours a day, which I feel like was pretty good because some days I just don't get it. But, and then into Consider the Lilies, I put in 5 hours and 40 minutes. So I did 2 more flowers as part of the border and brought my border down a little bit. And then I did these 2 flower motifs right here. And I started the little thistle that's right there. So I'm just, I'm in love, totally and completely in love. So, and this is stitched on a piece of mystery Evenweave that I found at the Goodwill near my friend Helen's house. Helen D, East Coast Crafter, has the best Goodwill in the universe by her house. Oh my gosh, it's the most organized, the most clean Goodwill in the whole wide world. It is fantastic. But anyways, I scored, this is probably a fourth of a cut of what I got. I don't think that it's cross-stitch linen, but it could be. It's Evenweave, it's super soft. It like drapes. It's beautiful. But so this is what I have done on Consider the Lilies. So I'm making progress. I feel like it's going fast and slow at the same time, which I feel like is just fine considering how large it is, and the fact that I'm still loving it as much as I am makes me happy. It lives in this bag from Target, from I think Target, from like the dollar section. So I have in the front, I have a couple of the doubles of the greens that I use, that are used a lot in the pattern, and then inside is just the floss disaster mess that exists because this piece is so big. And they're not on rings. I don't even know if they were on rings, if it would be neater or not. It's just a messy one. Before I show you my new start, I'll actually talk about where I am today. So I moved my video. We're trying to find a good spot for me in the house. I don't know. I think we're gonna move into my craft room in a couple weeks, just because it's my space and I can close it out to where you won't be able to hear the kids and it will just be me. And we can control the lighting a little bit better in there. This room has a really giant window, which is great, except for like this that you see on my glasses. So we changed the angle today to try to get rid of that a little bit more because it was bothering me. I don't know if it was bothering anybody else, but when I was rewatching my video to edit, it was driving me nuts. So we moved into my stitchy spot. This is where I sit. I have my little cart, has all my goodies on it. Some tulips that my husband brought in from the yard on Mother's Day. And then I know some people don't keep orts and they throw all their orts away and they can keep their stitchy spot clean. I keep my orts just because it makes me keep my stitchy spot clean. There's not a bunch of threads all over the house, all over the couch, all over anything. And I have habitually kept them in empty liquor bottles. Number one, I love how you can see like the story of what you've been stitching. And then, you know, like the super fluffy, like when you've had to frog something, there's like the layer of that. It just reminds me of those like sand things that you used to make when you were little, where you put the different colors in. So anyways, I keep them in there, and then orts stay in. They don't come out. It's great. And then my scissors live on top. They're kind of clingy sometimes, but you know, not a big deal. And I have like my fancy little salt rock right there. And then this is my Ott light. So the light's up there. It has a little clip and then it has a magnifier, which Abby, don't worry, it's covered. I don't use the magnifier yet, but when I bought the light, having that option of it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I feel like eventually my eyes will not do what I need them to do. And then back here, do a bonus little finish show off. So this is, oh yeah, there's my whole living room. This is a pattern by Barbie, Petal Pusher. It is a Haunted Mansion, Disneyland, and then I just framed it like with a Haunted Mansion key, so it's in a shadow box. It's not in a frame. I'm like trying to, let's see if you can get less glare. Yeah, that's pretty much as good as you're gonna get. But I just love her little hitchhiking ghosts. They're so cute, and it was just a great way to display a keepsake that I love, but like what else was I gonna do with that key? So it lives in here, and it lives in my stitchy spot. It'll probably go up on the wall, but I kind of like how it can just sit because it is a shadow box. I'm not gonna contort myself again to try to put that back for now. I'll just put it to the side. So I don't know if I mentioned that like one of the rules that I made for myself was that if I got 2 hours into a project, I could stitch on something else, which is kind of saving my, not necessarily my sanity on it, because I'm enjoying everything that I'm stitching on, but it just kind of gives me a little bit of an out. I did have a scheduled start last Sunday with one of the women in my stitchy group. We are together working on the Mermaid of Salem Bay by the Primitive Hair. I got my pattern off of Etsy from her. Let's see. And then just fair warning with her on Etsy, so you don't get your pattern right away when you order from her on Etsy, because she, to protect herself, she does not do the automatic download. She watermarks every pattern so that it has like, this pattern was, you know, made into a PDF specifically for this person, so that her patterns don't get passed around, or if they do, you're gonna feel really bad because you're gonna have someone else's name on your pattern, and don't do that. But anyways, so Mermaid of Salem Bay, I'm actually, I'm gonna leave out the words where it says the Mermaid of Salem Bay. So I did start her six stitches down from where she would have originally been, and she lives in this beautiful bag that my friend Patty, who I'm selling her with, made for me because we're doing it together, and she felt like we needed to have matching bags, which I uber appreciate and is super awesome. And she's been practicing her stitching, and she's getting really good at making bags. So it's blue on the inside and this awesome octopus fabric on the outside, and I just think it's fabulous. And I am stitching this on the called for, I think it's called pirate linen, and it has that cool pirate ship on it. So this is where I got, I stitched on this for just 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I didn't put a ton of time into it, but I feel like I got a lot done. I feel like it is chugging right along. And it's a beautiful pattern and beautiful floss. It is gassed NDMC, and Gas Blueberry is like my new favorite. And I know it does not come, I don't think it's gonna show on, I don't think it's gonna show on the camera like how cool it is and variegated, but it is just like one of those awesome, it has blues and purples in it, and it's just really pretty. And I can't wait to get to her hair, because I know that like her hair has, I think, a good chunk of that, because it's really just variegated and super, it's just mermaidy. It's a mermaidy floss. It's a really pretty mermaidy floss. So yeah, I feel like I've gotten a lot done. Let's see. Notes. Okay, so I am gonna stick with my plans for Stitchania, Stitchmania. That's the coming up videos will be mostly those 2 or 3, and then if I have extra time, I'm gonna be if I hit my 2 hours on my long dog, I will either switch to the Mermaid, or I have Hildy's Strawberry Patch by Bendy Stitchy that I really want to get completed, and so she will, I hope, get some time. If I get past that 2-hour marker, I get like a magical stitchy day. Other than that, so I got some feedback on my like random weird thing that I've like learned since moving to Maine and a colder climate. And my stitchy group was like, you should do that every week. Like, we want to know what silly things you've found since you've moved here. And so I figured I would share a couple more of those. So I have some in the pipe. But the weird thing that happened this week was that it snowed. It snowed on May 9th, and it snowed for a while. Like, we get random little flurries that kind of come through when it's rainy if it's cold enough, but we like literally had snow for maybe like 5 or 6 hours. And like some of the snow was like really big snow. So there's this whole other thing about snow that I don't know yet, because I don't know what all the different snows are called, because Southern California. So, but it was like, if you like broke a like hard packed styrofoam thing, you know how it's like made up of all those little balls and then they like smash them all together. If you like broke that apart, or like when you've unpacked furniture in your house and then that stuff gets everywhere, that's what it was like snowing, like not hard hail, I guess. Like it was like loosely packed hail. It wasn't hail because it wasn't like frozen. It was frozen water because of snow, but I don't know. I'm a dork. Can't help it. But yeah, so it was like snowing like those when I got home, when I was like driving home from work, but then like in the daytime, in the morning when it was snowing, like the wind was blowing so much that it was like the snow was snowing like up instead of down. So yeah, snow is weird. And we need to take our snow tires off the car still, which we haven't done because COVID, but I'm like, I don't want anybody else in my car, but it's time because you're not really supposed to have them on this late, but also it snowed last week, so that's the thing. Anyways, so that's enough rambly rambles for today. I hope that you're having a great week. Thank you for coming back. If you enjoyed your time here with me, please hit the subscribe button. I look forward to talking with you all again. Leave your comments, ask me any questions you have. I'm happy to answer them, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope you have a great week and enjoy your stitching. Bye.